today we're going to do a little cartridge comparison, and this one's for all the haters. Today we're going to do the 6UM versus the 6 Remington, aka the 244 Remington. Now on my last video on the 6UM, I was a little bit surprised to see how many folks commented that the 6 Remington was a better case. I thought that maybe someone would use 243 quite a bit. We got some of those. We're going to start with the Challenger today, the 6mm Remington. The 6mm Remington started its life out as the 244 Remington, and its parent case is a 7x57 Mauser, which is necked down to 6mm. And the interesting thing on this cartridge is it's got a 26-degree shoulder. A lot of guys, which were pretty funny, the comments, you guys want to act like I'm not the brightest. Well, you should read some of your comments and talk to me about that. But a lot of guys were saying that they shoot the same bullet. Well, that's true, but also in the same sentence, they're saying that you can get factory ammo. Well, you're not going to find 115 grain D-tac load in the 6 Remington. Now, I'm not saying you can't hand load for it. That's fine. Now, for my math, if you load the 115 D-tac in a 6mm Remington, your coal's going to probably be closer to 3.066. which is going to push that cartridge out of that short action category and more into a long action category or a medium action category. Now, I understand you could seat that bullet in quite a bit deeper to get that short action, but all you're going to do then is eat up your powder capacity, which for me is kind of a big deal. Actual case dimension is 2.825 for the measurement, so you can get a traditional 6 Remington bullets to fit in a short action. When I looked it up, I'm sure it varies on the brand of brass, but I came up with 54.6 grains of powder of water capacity in this cartridge. If you were going to go to 115 in this cartridge, I used Hodgdon's website to get load data. In a 24-inch barrel, you're roughly getting between 2,800 and 2,900 feet per second. There's not a whole lot of information on there. So if you guys have any other experience with that or anything, please comment down below. I'd love to hear that. I ran the 6mm Remington on the recoil calculator, and we ran it, everything we used pretty much a 115 because that's what the 6UM was designed for, was 115 and those heavier per cal bullets. So with 50 grains of powder, I believe that was Rotumbo was what Hodgdon was saying, in an 8-pound rifle, with about 28 to 2,900 feet per second, you're getting 13.2 foot-pounds of energy. Now, barrel life on this cartridge is one of the things that everyone had to brag about and tell me was so much better than the 6UM. Now, if you run the 6mm Remington with those lighter per cal bullets, and you can run them up to 4,000 feet per second, from my research, you're only going to get 900 to 1,200 rounds on a barrel. Now, if you run factory ammo or moderate loads or anything along those lines, maybe not some of those super small bullets, it looks like you could end up getting up to about 2,300 rounds on a barrel. I just think it's a little bit funny, the comparison, how you're trying to tell me the 6 Remington is not a barrel burner, and yet if you run it at 4,000 feet per second at 900 rounds a barrel on the low end, you're pretty close right there to that 6UM. I had another comment on there how they shoot the same bullet, which really just cracks me up at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie. They do shoot the same bullets, but I cannot find 115 grain D-tac load anywhere. So the closest I found online for factory ammo is I did find a 109 grain factory load from Federal, and that was running $2.05. Now, where I will give the benefit of the doubt to the 6 Remington is you can shoot a lot more variety of bullets from a 55 to 115 grain. And I know you could also do that in the UM, but it's really designed to shoot those heavy for cal bullets. The other issue with that 6mm Remington that I have is a lot of guys were saying how you have to build a custom rifle and you have to go all out. Well, there are 0 factory offerings for 6 Remington right now, brand new on the market. That's not an option. So you're actually in the same boat a little bit as the 6UM. If you want a new rifle chambered in 6mm Remington, you're going to have to get a custom rifle. Now, the benefit of the 6mm Remington is that you can find used rifles online, which is nice, and it's an awesome option, and there's a lot of cool rifles out there. The problem with those used rifles is that most of those rifles are probably going to have a higher twist, like a 1 in 12 or something along those lines. So you're probably not going to be able to stabilize some of the larger for cal bullets like the 115s and stuff like that. Now for the 6UM. The 6UM, its parent case is a 6.5 SAUM. The case overall length with a 115 is 2.950. So you can get that in a true short action and get most benefit of using all the powder that you can get into that cartridge. The case capacity for the 6UM is about 74 grains of H2O. And in our testing with 115 grain DTAC in an 18-inch barrel, not a 24-inch barrel, in an 18-inch barrel is between 3,200 feet per second and 3,250 feet per second. Where I'll give the win to the 6 Remington, when I ran the 6UM in the recoil calculator, I ran it at 66 grains, same rifle weight, with 3,250 feet per second. It came out to 22.3 foot-pounds of recoil. So we will give a win to the 6 Remington for that. Now, I researched what they're saying and claiming for barrel life, and I believe they're still using a barrel life calculator. They're getting about 800 rounds. Now, I think on some of the forums, they're saying on the low end, they're getting 600 rounds, which I know that you guys don't think that that's that great of a lifespan for a barrel, but I really think we live in a modern age where that's pretty good, and you can swap barrels out quite easily these days. The other thing is that they're saying that the barrel lifespan on the 6UM is better than the 28 Nosler on the calculators, and according to Ryan Avery. A lot of guys were saying it kind of sucks that you can't get factory ammo for the 6UM, that's why they're out. And that's fair enough, and I understand that, and there's not enough major companies picking up this cartridge, but you can get custom ammo from 6UM, and if you guys want to check that out more, I know UM just did an updated video on the 6UM to give you guys a lot more detail than I'm giving you. Go ahead over there and check that out. But they will load ammo for $4.50. Now, if you go with the 40-degree shoulder like we did here, I think you're going to end up having to fire form, send your brass back, get it reloaded. But that's all part of the fun with this modern cartridge. Where the 6UM beats and kicks the 6 Remington right in the gonads is this was designed for modern high BC heavy for cal bullets. And the twist rate on the barrels were designed for that. So I'm sure you could, if you wanted to get wild with it, if you wanted to push some 55 grainers and less, some 35 grainers to 5,000 feet per second and really burn a barrel out, you could do that with the 6UM. You just might want to change your barrel twist. But they say faster is better than slower, so you might still be able to handle those lighter for cal bullets. A lot of guys were crying about that rifle and how, oh, it's a 6UM, you're going to have to build an $8,000 rifle. Well, that's really just absurd, and those guys are just being a little bit ignorant in that case. You can do a budget build 6UM on a Tikka action, and you might even be able to do one yourself and just order the barrel and chamber it for even cheaper. But if you had the UM guys build one, I'm guessing you're going to be around $3 grand. to have them build you a Tikka rifle. That's nowhere near 8. I'm not saying 3 grand's cheap either. I understand that argument. But there are options out there to get a 6UM in a cost-friendly rifle, and I just wanted to throw that out there. Now, like said, I did think it was quite comical how there were so many guys who commented on the 6mm Remington versus 6UM when I probably would have went more along the 243 lines. I think you get a little bit more speed out of that. It's a little more modern, and you can get some better twist rates. And just for shits and giggles, when I looked that up with 115 grain, you're getting closer to 29 to 2950 feet per second in a 24-inch barrel. Where the major difference here is in an 18-inch barrel, you're getting 3,200 to 3,250 feet per second. That's 6 inches less barrel, which is a lot nicer for guys who are going to run suppressors or who are going to do some stuff like that. So if you really wanted to compare apples to apples and you put that 6UM in a 24-inch barrel to put it up against that 6 Remington, you're probably going to get closer to that 3,400 feet per second mark. And I think that's where it definitely blows that 6mm Remington out of the water. Tell me what you guys think down below. I'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts. This was kind of just a fun video for the haters, and I just wanted to do a little comparison for you guys. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it.